Oh, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum versus ETCG at the request of Young Dade H, or UNG Dade H. You told me how to pronounce it, and I can't. It didn't help, so I don't know how to pronounce it. But we're doing this one for you, my friend. Now, before we get started, I have a couple of questions which you can't answer because obviously you're not here. You're there, watching here. Right? And here is trying to talk to you, but here no there. So here no work. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is you requested ETH versus ETCG. Now my question is, why do you want me to compare Ethereum to Ethereum Classic Grayscale Trust? My thoughts are there's one of two scenarios. One, you want me to compare ETC USD to ETCG, or two, you want me to compare ETH to ETH. If not, if it is ETH versus ETCG for your own reasons, whatever, that's cool too. But I'm assuming there's some confusion going on here, and it's on my behalf. I'm confused. I don't know. So at any rate, I'm going to give it to you as you've requested it, ETH versus ETCG. So here we go. Buckle up. We're in for an interesting ride, aren't we? I bet ETCG beats ETH. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. High here to low. Or maybe the third option I didn't even think of was ETC and ETH. Maybe that's what you meant. Maybe you didn't mean to have that G in there. Ethereum, all the way up at its 886. Beautiful, man. Yeah, great, actually. Really nice look. You could go a little bit lower. 2,880. Though you are at an area where I would expect you to bounce, but I bet you do go lower, down to about 2,500. What's ETH versus BTC look like? Looking like it's sad. Yes, and it wants to go lower indeed. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, so I mean, at that rate then I'm very confident that yes, you probably go to 2,500. You're at 2882, probably going down to around 2,500. Flat base descending highs, should have seen it more clearly. Terrible looking daily RSI. Weekly's just getting below the 50. Yeah, 2,500 you go, Ethereum. Likely around there. Yeah. As far as cycle highs go, because we're doing a versus video, as far as like cycle highs go, high here, low here. Potentially we could see a $7,750 Ethereum, maybe even a $14,000 Ethereum by the end of this cycle. C-Zar, that's preposterous. That would give it a over $1 trillion market cap. Yes, I'm aware. I think Ethereum deserves that. Out of all the cryptos that exist, this is one of them that deserves to be in the there. Think about it this way, right, guys? Like, instead of saying, well, that's preposterous, that'd be $1 trillion. Get out of that mind frame, okay? Because first off, the dollar is worthless. I'm not one of those guys that's going to tell you that the dollar is going to zero and that they're going to take over the dollar, like whoever they are, BRICS or China or whatever. You know, I'm not one of those people. I think the dollar, the U.S. dollar, will have dominance in the world of currency for the rest of my life, and I'm in my 20s, right? So that's just where my head is, right? The dollar compared to most world. You want to look at the dollar real quick? Let's go. I'll come back to what I'm saying. But just real quick, look at the dollar, right? This is the DXY in comparison to most world currencies. You want to tell me the dollar, all the media, all the news, all the FUD that's going on with the dollar going to zero and China's going to take over. Do you know how well established and bullish this trend is that's been going on since 2008? Do you see it? This isn't showing that the dollar's gaining strength. No, the dollar's weakening every day, every year for the rest of its life. It's inflationary, of course it will. But versus every other currency in the world, no, it's doing better, actually. It's done phenomenally better. So what currency, when this is the DXY, the index of the dollar versus all world currencies, when it's in a very healthy looking uptrend, what currency is going to take, and this, by the way, is on the monthly. This is a long term. This is the long outlook here, man. Like, what currency is going to overtake this? It looks like you're in a trend that's going to break above that high. You're going to see highs in the DXY versus the world currencies, right, that you haven't seen in 3 decades. By the time it gets there, it'll be over 3 decades probably. And it's like, what currency is going to overtake it? It's on a very nice trajectory right now. I don't know. I don't think it's going to stop. But getting back to the task at hand here, which I said I would remember, but I forget what I was going to say. Oh yeah, is that just because, and this is the train of thought that got me on this, is that the dollar is weak, right? It's worthless. It's absolutely worthless, and as time goes on, it'll become more worthless. Again, that doesn't mean that I think the dollar is going to zero, right? It's already at zero technically, and it's going to continue to keep going, but it's not going to get overtaken, is what I mean. I don't think it's going to die or go away, but that's not the main point. Who cares? I could be right on that. I could be wrong on that. Either way, the dollar's worthless. We can all agree on that, right? It's not necessarily, like, not technically worthless. I'm getting caught up in the technicals here, man. It'll continue to lose value as time goes on. I forgot to pause the music. And at which case, seeing a multi-trillion dollar, or not even a multi-trillion dollar, but a $1 trillion market cap for another crypto besides Bitcoin is inevitable. It's going to happen. Is BTC going to be the only crypto that will ever break $1 trillion? No. So what's the next one to do it? Well, if to get to $1 trillion, it has to see these price targets. It might be Ethereum. It just might be. I'm just saying. I know what kind of market cap it is. It's insane. But at the same time, it's not really. It's kind of expected. It's probably going to happen. So Ethereum, 7,750, 14,000 possible high. That is a 170% increase from the current price to potentially, let's just round up and say a 400, 170. Okay, we'll be real. 170, 390. 170, 390. Okay, that's Ethereum. I'm going to remember that. Okay, I hope to hopefully remember that. ETCG now, also looking like it's in a nice uptrend. When I say also, I'm referring to the DXY. Weekly RSI looks terrible. It looked nice, but it looks sad right now. It looks very sad. Daily RSI also looks sad. Rejecting the 123, lower you go, into the abyss you go. Where, oh where, are you going to go? From there to there, I shall measure. Let's see. Oh yeah. 1064, 980, 752. Any of those areas. You could drop as much from the current price of $12. You could drop as much as 11%, potentially at the most 37%. So as far as ETH versus ETCG goes, Ethereum wins on the whole idea of how much it could lose, right? Ethereum will probably lose less in the coming days and weeks than ETCG will. Okay. However, so after that low, assuming that Ethereum Classic sees new all-time highs, which I do assume, I would then assume that ETCG also sees new all-time highs. From this high to a low point here, you actually look really good on your long-term, like, kind of price building up. Even if you were to drop below the 382, I think you're fine. $12, man. Maybe you do hold that like $11 area. I don't know. Anyways, you can wick a little bit below this and it's still fine. All I'm trying to say is, if you were to see new all-time highs, the minimum target would be $249, which from the current price would be almost a 2,000% increase, 1,900. I mean, and I would doubt that you see it go up to its 1618, which is all the way at 840, but it is possible. At any rate, ETCG, the potential gains in this smoke Ethereum. As far as anything else that's different between them, I don't know. ETCG is a derivative, right? It's a trust. It's not the actual asset. It's just a share of a trust of which is the acting custodian for an asset, right? And I don't really see any value in that. The only value that I see is that it generates premiums. By it, I mean the Grayscale Trust generates premiums. To me, even though, yes, like, let's pretend this is Ethereum Classic and ETC here, right? Ethereum Classic might only go up this much, right? Where ETCG goes up this much. And I objectively accept that, not just as a possibility, but as a probability that it will likely far outperform the underlying asset. to me, as an individual, it's just more valuable to own the underlying asset than it is to own the derivative. What if something happens? Just something. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is. None of us know what it is, right? Maybe there are people who are in charge, right, who know what it is, whatever it is. But what if something happens and this trust is worth dog shit, but your underlying asset is actually worth it grows? Like what if something happens where Grayscale is having issues? They get robbed, they get sued, whatever reason, they decide to open up private investments, right? Like you get ETCG up here at a premium, and they're like, you know what, we're going to open up private placement rounds again. The PP trades, the PP investments for the PP heads, we're going to let them buy at NAV price. You know, that kind of stuff, diluting the supply, can hurt the price, grow. But that's not going to hurt ETC, or it's not going to hurt the underlying asset. And I'm saying all this stuff to justify my reasoning. I still very, absolutely believe that we are going to see the Grayscale Trust do this, where the underlying assets do that, right? Like it's not. This is not a perfect depiction. What I'm trying to say is these will grow more, the underlying assets will grow less. That's what I'm trying to do with this illustration here, and I objectively accept that as literally a truth. But to me, it's less secure, and I'm playing with money that I am trying to build a serious future with, right? Not just for me, but for potentially members of my family who I will never meet, down the line. So I'm not going to mess with that. I'm not going to put it in derivatives. I'm going to buy the underlying assets. So as far as between ETH or ETCG, which one would I probably put my money into? I would probably put it into ETH personally, but I full-heartedly accept that ETCG is likely the smarter choice. I wouldn't doubt that at all. If somebody was in ETCG, I'm going to play the music, and I was in Ethereum, or let's say I was in Ethereum Classic and they were in ETCG, or I was in ETH and they were in ETH, the Grayscale equivalent, whatever, I would not bet them that the underlying asset performs better. I would never take that bet, because it very likely does not. The only way that it could is if something fatally wrong happened with the Grayscale Trust. That's literally it. And nobody wants that, right? I don't pray for that. I hope everybody in the Grayscale Trust, I hope you guys all make a ton of money. I hope you do exactly what we all know and believe these trusts are capable of doing. I just own the underlying assets personally because it's more secure. That's as simple as that. So ETH gets the win versus ETCG in my book. But ETCG gets the win on overall percentage growth capabilities, and that's the truth. So if you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. If none of this made sense, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what questions you have, where I went off. Maybe I can do better the next time, stuff like that. If it all made sense, if it was all fun and groovy, hit that like button and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.